What's up everybody and welcome to another video game ranking, this time going over one of my favorite franchises of all time, and that is the Uncharted franchise. And I'm not doing it alone. My buddy Sean Chandler, who's been building this up for a while on his channel, and we did a podcast over on his channel about a month ago talking about this. He's going to be doing this ranking as well, so his is going live exactly at the same time as mine. I've grown up with these games. I've been there since the beginning. He actually just binge played all of them over the past couple of months whenever we were all in isolation with this COVID thing going on. I've been encouraging him to play these for quite a while. I knew they were right up his alley and he's enjoyed the hell out of them, so I'm very interested to find out where they all stack with him as he's played them all at once versus me, who's kind of went up with them years in between. So if you want to check out two different perspectives, look down the video description below, check out his channel and his video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out and put in the comments that Cody sent you. So with all that being said, Uncharted, my God, what an awesome video game franchise. Like, even from the beginning, some games people would argue haven't aged as well because they've been improved, but for me, these are damn near all perfect games, with certain exceptions being towards the bottom, which I'll get into, but for the most part, a damn near flawless video game franchise that I hope keeps going and will always be beloved for me as one of the best video game franchises of all time. So I'm gonna be talking about 6 games because I actually did get a chance to play the PS Vita game Golden Abyss, and I just recently went back and finished The Lost Legacy, so I have a lot of thoughts with that one as well. So we're gonna talk about all 6 of the released Uncharted games, and coming in at number 6 at the bottom is Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is the PS Vita one. Now, to be honest with you, this game's kind of bringing a toothpick to a gunfight because it's a mobile version of games that are much bigger, much more expansive, and have much more graphical room to kind of stretch their legs. So is it fair putting it on this ranking? Probably not, but I know how you guys are with completion, so if I didn't put it on here, everybody asks where the hell that game is at. Uncharted Golden Abyss, I had enough fun with it. It is a lot of what you love about the Uncharted franchise, just kind of squeezed into a mobile game. It's done pretty well. Graphically, the PS Vita was always a pretty damn good looking mobile game at a very quick death, but it was a good console. And it's an Uncharted game. It has everything that you want. It has the shooting mechanics, it has the explorations and the platforming and the climbing and everything. The villain, the story, didn't really interest me a whole lot. I honestly don't even remember a whole lot about it, where I remember very much about the other games. So it's just the limitations of the game and the fact that it was not as impactful as the other games, which is why it's coming down here at the bottom. But if you do have a PS Vita and you have a way to get a hold of this game and you love Uncharted, there's worse ways to spend your time. Number 5, I don't know if this is gonna be controversial or not. I feel like all these games are so damn good that you could pretty much have any ranking and everybody would be like, oh, I get it. Number 5 for me is Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. Now, when I said earlier near perfect games, I was really just talking about this one. I think that pretty much every other game above this is perfect. This is the only Uncharted game that I've always had some pretty decent sized grievances with. Positives, it's still Uncharted. It still has that epic, you know, big blockbuster adventure action extravaganza stuff going on. The character moments are still there. The writing is great. The graphics are great. Where I had problems with Uncharted 3 is the story, the villains, and if I'm remembering correctly, the shooting mechanics felt off in this one. They might have patched it and fixed it, so maybe some of you never experienced it, but I'm telling you, I have very vivid memories of hours into this game still thinking, this doesn't feel right. Why am I missing guys when I know I'm shooting right at them? There was just something off about it that I've always remembered. The story is not as interesting to me as the other games, with this whole, you know, going through and the true origins of Drake, and, you know, there's little hints out there that he lied, but they never really follow up on it. And the villains, I think, are by far the weakest, aside from Golden Abyss, of these games that are up top here. Marlowe and Talbot just didn't really interest me a whole lot. Talbot kind of seemed like a total copy of one of their antagonists from the second game. I almost thought it was the same character for a while. Marlowe was very intriguing when she came in with this whole, you know, there's a hint of past between her and Drake that I thought they were going to get more into, and they really don't. Just by the end, it's all the things that you want in an Uncharted game, but with those couple of things that just didn't land for me nearly as well as the other ones, by default, it's gonna be down here. Still a damn good game. Number 4 is Uncharted Lost Legacy, and I'm very glad that I went back and played this game. I was just gonna do the 4 main games, and then I decided to give that one a shot. I bought this game day one, and I played it for maybe an hour, and for some reason or another, I just put it on my shelf. And for over a year, it sat there, and I never went back to it. I don't know if it's because of the way that Uncharted 4 ended so great that I just wasn't mentally ready to move on with this franchise yet, wasn't ready to be other characters besides Drake. I'm not quite sure, but something about it just was weird for me. Time has healed wounds, and I went back and played it from the beginning, and this is a damn good game. Like, the only reason that it's this low, honestly, is that it's not a full-length game. It is one of those kind of expansion chapters, and it's about half the length of a regular Uncharted game. But if it was full length, you would have a damn good fight for top of this list, because there is some awesome stuff in this. I love the puzzle mechanics. It might have some of the best puzzles of the video game franchise. I love the characters of Chloe and Nadine together. I think that they have really good chemistry, and I'm actually open if they want to continue Uncharted and just focus on these two characters along with Sam, his brother. I'm fine. I think that I will be able to enjoy that and not play every game missing Nathan Drake. They were great. So the writing is still there, the fun character dynamic is still there, just as strong as it ever was. Graphically, it's gorgeous. They introduced this kind of open world aspect in the middle of the game, to where you have this open field basically with mountains and caves and all these different things, and you have to kind of go around and explore, and you have this map that you're kind of piecing together. It was interesting. You know, I'm going to talk about this in another video game ranking I have coming up very soon with Gears of War, but introducing that open world aspect into a game that's never really had it before, it's always something that I'm on the fence with. Sometimes it adds this new gameplay and this freedom to it that actually makes the game better. Sometimes it drags down the pacing of the game, where games like this actually, I feel like, benefit from being linear and having that movie-like pacing, where the game pushes you along this path instead of stopping and letting you spend hours possibly in this little field. But it mostly worked for me in the Lost Legacy. I like being able to go around and having the option to get all these other treasures if I wanted to. The villain, the storyline was great. There's not a whole lot negative that I have to say about Lost Legacy. It was a damn good expansion that I actually hope we get to see more of. The only reason it's this low, just the length. Number 3 is Uncharted Drake's Fortune, where it all started. Now, some people have this kind of low in their ranking because it is the first one, so they've basically improved on all of the gameplay mechanics. But for me, I gotta have that nostalgic love represented here. This game blew my mind. Whenever I first played it, there was a little demo on the PS3, and I played the first 30 minutes of the game or whatever, and I was like, hell yeah, I need to check out what that game is. I went and bought it and just fell in love with the characters, the writing.
Hello. He's alive. What if it turns out he's working with them?
We either rescue him, or we beat the crap out of him. Hell, I might just beat the crap out of him anyway.
This style of gameplay, this very updated version of Tomb Raider at the time. I loved the whole supernatural twist towards the end of it with the curse of this El Dorado treasure, and it just really changed up the game out of nowhere. It was kind of like this big brick in the face, like, oh my god, now I'm fighting monsters.
I can't get a signal in here. Oh shit.
I love this game. I love the villains. The introduction of all these characters is great, and the introduction of their relationships. It's a fantastic game. It's a shame that some people don't enjoy it as much because they played the later games and go back and try to play the first one, and it feels restricted to them because the gameplay is not as fresh. But I was there at the beginning, and I still love Drake's Fortune. Now, these top 2, I'm gonna be dead honest with you, they might be the closest top 2 that I have ever done in a ranking. And I've had quite a few where my top 2 are like, damn, one day is this, one day is this. These next 2 games are absolute perfection to me. There's nothing negative that I can say about them. They are flawless. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, is going to be my number 2. And that was a very hard choice because I think that this game might have the best story. It certainly has the most emotion, and it has the biggest stakes because it's the final one, and the whole game you're like, oh my god, is this gonna be the end of Nathan Drake? Are we gonna die? Is there gonna be some tragedy, some sacrifice? And this is just one of the most emotionally satisfying conclusions that I've ever seen to a character or to a video game series. It is a phenomenal game from start to finish. Graphically, gorgeous. By far, not even an argument, by far the best looking of the Uncharted games. The gameplay is the best that it's ever been. All the different expansions like the little grappling hook and everything are great. I love the storyline in this about kind of Drake being pulled back into this little plot with his brother after he's been in retirement. And even the quieter moments in the beginnings of the game whenever you're just sitting around playing Crash Bandicoot or, you know, reliving the glory days in your attic shooting at little targets. It's just, for fans of the franchise, so satisfying. The introduction of Sam, something that could very easily derail a story like this, where there's this brother that we never talked about who's going to come in, and you're voiced by Troy Baker. Phenomenal. Great addition of a character. Him and Nolan North going back and forth. I mean, the chemistry is just off the charts. I hope we get to see more of that character, Sam.
Avast, you dirty dog!
Nice. I was doing the...
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
I was doing the thing.
Right, right. You're a horrible pirate.
Even the returning characters of, you know, I think Chloe was in here for a little bit, maybe not, maybe I'm remembering wrong. I know she was in 3, but Nadine, the new character, even bringing back where you have Elena and the whole marriage and the tension there where she wants him to be retired, but now he's off doing his thing again. Where they end all of that with the epilogue is just beautiful. Sully coming back in. If anything, I thought maybe Sully was on borrowed time here, but I love this game. I love it to death. Like I said, one of the most, if not the most emotional and satisfying conclusion to a franchise of all time. It is awesome.
You care about that parade of losers so much. I'm going to make sure they join you. On guard, dickhead.
But my number 1 is Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Now this is how you do a sequel. Like I said, I loved and just fell right into the world of Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and when Uncharted 2 came, it just blew the doors off. It did everything bigger, better, more amazing, more tension-filled, some crazy sequences like the train, even at the beginning when you're just trying to get out of the train wreck, but back when you're on the train before it wrecks, that whole sequence. The story is great. The new character additions in here are great. The new kind of environments you go into with Tibet and more snowy stuff instead of jungles.
Just need a diversion. You give me 5 minutes in that tent, that's all it'll take.
Really? 5 minutes? Well, that's great. I won't even have to get my top off.
Chloe, I was thinking more like an explosion.
Or that. Can be arranged.
Even the little twist they have on the supernatural side of things to where you feel like you're fighting Yetis, and then there's a very grounded-ish explanation for that by the end. I think the villain, Lazarevich, alongside with Rafe in Uncharted 4, you can compete for best villains of the franchise. Like I said, these two games are very close. The only aspect that just barely tipped the needle over for me to where Uncharted 2 just gets that slight edge is that this is the only game of any of the Uncharted games that I just got sucked into the multiplayer. I am not a multiplayer guy. I'm a single player guy. I love stories. I love little journeys that are set out for me that I can have fun with. I'm not really a social gamer. I don't really like to have competitive sports gaming or, you know, different shooting to where even 3 hours after the game's released, there's guys that are like level 3000 that will kill you in 5 seconds. I get very frustrated with online gameplay. I fell in love with the multiplayer in Uncharted 2, and I thought it was gonna be a throwaway tack-on thing, like, oh, every fucking game's gotta have multiplayer. Uncharted 2's multiplayer, I played for hours on end. I was ranking myself up like crazy. I gained a couple of friends on PS3 back in the day playing it, and it's just all around. Everything that I could say positive about a game, I can say about Uncharted 2.
Flynn, listen.
Face it, genius. You've been played. You overlooked one little detail, didn't you, partner? What? Face it, genius, you've been played. Oh, really? Hey! Jackass, you're ruining the show here.
And as phenomenal as Uncharted 4 is, like I said, that extra little layer of multiplayer experience just tips the needle for me a little bit, and it comes in at number 1. So what do you guys think of the Uncharted games? Which ones are your favorite? Like I said, I don't think this list is going to be controversial, although I always seem to step on controversy somehow. But these games are so phenomenal that I could kind of understand any ranking. When I watch Sean's, his could be the opposite of mine, and I'll be like, I mean, I get it. So it's a fantastic franchise. If you have not played them, please do yourself a favor. They have the first three games remastered for PS4, and they have the fourth one obviously on PS4. I don't care if they cost $100 for all four of them, which is a deal in and of itself. Spend the money. Please introduce yourself to this franchise, because if you're a fan of that genre, that action-adventure gameplay, I honestly don't think there's any better franchise out there for you. So, cannot give enough praise to this franchise. Be sure to check out Sean's ranking down in the video description below. Very curious to see what a newbie, what a brand new transplant into this franchise is going to think about all these games stacked up next to each other. And as always, guys, please like and share this video. Hit the subscribe button over here if you're not a subscriber. If you came from Sean's video, welcome to my crazy little world. And as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.